Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing this evening? I'm trying to unplug from the hurricanes and technically everything else for a little while. I figure I put up a good enough worst case scenario warning to let it stand until like 4 or 5 hours from now. We will know what type of development the storm is going to take. So cheers. Happy Saturday evening. It looks like we will all make it to September 13th, 2020. Cheers to that. May we all have better days ahead of us. Man, here's the deal. I have not played guitar a couple months. So when I went to unplug from the Matrix, I was like, crap, I don't have any hobbies. And so, I'm going to try and see if I still know how to play guitar. So I'm like restarting, relearning how to take guitar breaks. What is your favorite chord? I'm just getting warmed up. I'd like to say thank you to all the beautiful people out there. And that is everyone. Oh my God, the energy is so jacked tonight. Can you feel it? I sure can. What a crazy world we live in, y'all. I gotta find it somewhere. Crap, I forgot where it was. Oh crap, I gotta remember, you guys are listening, so I have to actually listen to how it sounds. I will work on that. If you're just joining us, I haven't played guitar in months, so now I've just picked it up, all super rusty. I'm like, hey, the energy's crazy, man. So I'm now trying to channel the energy all around us through my guitar. And I guess voice. I'm not doing so hot so far. All right, here we go. Sounds like it's out of tune. No, it is not. It's just my playing. I'm super freaked out. Okay, great. idea? You guys like single note songs? Okay, great. Maybe the light was fucking me up. Okay. It'll only take me a couple minutes to re-figure out where the strings are. And the frets that run up and down the board. Note to self, there's too much treble in your voice. Okay, I will work on that. I guess E is the only chord I can play. So I gotta try and write an E song. This energy is so fucking crazy. I feel like I'm coming to pieces with you. Need some work. Okay, if you just join us, panicked. It's like, what should I do? It's like, oh, play guitar. You haven't done that shit in months. Because if you ever gotten the feeling in 2020 where you're just kind of looking around and you're like, man, this shit is so wild. I sure hope we work it out. Yes, okay. Though if tonight saving the world depends on my guitar playing, I and we are in trouble. I can't even play the easy ones. Oh crap. Stars waving at empty cars. Tell me, do you see it? It ain't the first time and it won't be the last time. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I guess that means Unicorn Feelings is, the song is broken right now. What is happening? Alright, I'm gonna stay calm as the universe is stitching itself back together again for like the Xth multiple times. And God knows how many nanoseconds and millimoments we've had. Man, time is crazy as well. There's some crazy shit happening in the world right now. It's like every Asteroid Fight Club subject, every Thor News subject is lit, for lack of a better term. I apologize. This might be the first time, well, I guess you're the judge, that I feel like I'm wasting your time. Crap. But I was out there looking for interesting things to watch. If like you do to have to take a break away from like, all right, been staring at the whole switchboard of like superheroing and all the things are lit for a while, and I'm like, hey man, I just gotta go take a break, do a hobby or some shit. So right here to you, ma'am. And so if I'm a little flustered or seem a little flustered, it's because I am a little flustered. Because this is crazy shit, dude. And in the ocean, there's just like a whole row of hurricanes. I mean, they're not there yet. There are a lot of waves over Africa. And that eye that was off of California coast, how the smoke swirled around and then created like the literal pupil dot within the like eye, that was wild. I mean, that was super wild. That was like me going, whoa. And then you got the other eye on the other side. And the Avengers Civil War came out in Captain America 2016. So it feels to me like people are trying to retrograde backwards into 2016. We're like, we've been kind of already in the Civil War thing forever. But Cold Civil War. And so now with Infinity War started, and Thanos taking people out, people are like, let's go back to 2016's Civil War. Tony Stark's team versus Captain America's team. I'm like, man, I'm very against Civil War. Seems like a bad idea. And going back to the Captain America Civil War, it really is more about, I guess, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. So, I mean, technically it's not as, I wouldn't call it a civil war, then it would just be like a Hydra takeover. Because that's what happened in Captain America 2. Like, the Nazis got the supercomputer, and they were like, I can cark myself straight into the computer, man. And then they were like, we will take over through crises, conquest. They laid it all out, Captain America 2. I mean, they laid out the like same Disney timeline that has no X-Men. What was I talking about? I don't even know. Oh. So, like, is it a civil war? Or is it like Hydra going, hey, do what we say, or we will set off a super volcano and kill everyone? I don't know. Okay, we get back to the guitaring. I was doing great with that. Asterisk? No, I was not. Real memento. That's what we are fighting for. No, no, no. See, there's like some magic note out there, and one day if I can hit it, maybe then the wars will end. Have you ever looked at life like a math problem? And the math problem is, how do you end all wars without killing anyone or many? Like none at all. And it seems like a math problem that's just hanging there in the air. I mean, of course, it's definitely more complex than just math. And did you see that? If we were sitting in a bar talking, spittle just came out of my mouth. It's all fly across the room. Like if you were a cute lady I was trying to impress tonight, I'd have had that 3 seconds of, oh dang, shucks. I look like a Jethro. Nothing against Jethros, man. Or I look like a Shrek. How about that? Is that safe? That won't piss anybody off? Okay, great. What's it talking about? I forgot. My spit knocked me off mental course. Yeah, saving the world. Bringing peace amongst all humans on the planet. It's like a math problem that's hanging in the air. It's been there since I was like 7 years old. Okay, this definitely might be the most awkward Thor News video I've ever done. Hopefully you guys will forgive me. You guys have been pretty super awesome and forgiving with me. So, okay, cool. Okay, the energy feels yucky. There, I said it. I know, like 8 o'clock, it just got super yucky. Before that, it was great. I had an amazingly good dream last night. It was very vivid. And in it, I got to go to an air show. And the air show was super cool. I remember there was a bunch of them, but the coolest one was like a new SR-71, which I guess is like the plane they use in the X-Men, but it's real. Lockheed Martin flew it. I would guess flies it somewhere today. I mean, just for fun kicks or whatever. And there was a bunch of them. Anywho, so the dreams were great. But the energy of the day has been, not so great. But I could handle it. I was handling it up until that like 6 p.m. switch. Have you ever noticed the energies like that? Where they're like good tides, and when the good tide comes in, you gotta get some shit done and be badass or whatever. But then when the bad energy comes in, it's better to just chill. And if I had hobbies, me to go off and do a hobby. Well, I can almost say that planetary defense has all but almost consumed most of my time and energy and everything since 2020 has been going on, This has definitely been super full time. Not a whole lot of minutes to kick back and just be like, I mean, overall, Okay. Okay, this is how, to me, because I like warned everybody that after the Christmas eclipse, and then around January 15th, you know, like something was coming. Some type of video game boss was going to show up on Earth. And so I didn't know exactly which video game boss it would be, but you had a bunch of ideas. Like, I wasn't shocked or surprised, like, that it was a plague. It's just one of them. And so I was definitely had that feeling of like, well, we're going to get our next video game boss somewhere around now. Definitely at least a new one in October. And how many between then we get, I don't even know. So I'm just looking at it like, seems like there's a mid-September or end of September major boss thing, because Saturn is still retrograding backwards, and we'll get to almost the Pluto point from the 15th of January. Yeah, so maybe it's the same version of the old boss, but I think it's definitely going to be some like weird new fucking twist. So like, you know how we're doing with everything now. And then we got like 2 more bosses, video game bosses showing up in real life. We definitely need more miracles. And we need more win-win situations. Like, hey, I've got an idea. Let's figure out a situation where both parties can walk away with a win. Well, hey, art of the deal. Because there's a lot I do not know. There's a lot of people don't know. But I think I have a base understanding of what is happening and what is kind of happening over these hours, why it is so heavy, and but I don't want to speculate on that. As I've said before, it seems like there have been surprises that have come down the pipe in the last 3 years. And so it's like a continual adjustment. And so that, as I had discussed, from like February into the fall was like a big period. And so now like we've taken a step into the fall, and so feels like negotiations have definitely intensified. Like one of the writers for the X-Men tonight was talking about xenomorphs, which are the aliens in Aliens 2 and Aliens 3. Like Alien vs. Predator. Game over, man. And he has to do xenomorphs eat people? I mean, they need people to incubate, which is a whole weird, gets us back to if you were with me the other night when we were talking about the dinosaurs. We're like, if humans were losing to dinosaurs, what if humans were engaging in cannibalism at that time And somehow, when humans were like, hey, let's stop eating each other, talking caveman shit, then they could figure out how to overcome being pestered by the dinosaurs. And so I guess in this version, the xenomorph would be kind of like the dinosaur. And I know it's a dumb question, but I still ask it. Like, why can't the xenomorph and the humans get along? Why can't the dinosaurs and the humans get along? Why can't people just get along? And I guess there are many white papers out there explaining why. I feel dumb. Rare. Like I said, I think I get it, but it's still confusing. Have you ever been confused? Have you been confused in 2020? And that new hurricane just fucking popped up out of nowhere. Asterisk. They're like that. And so that wasn't even one of the two we're watching. Okay, great. Here we go. Back to my awe-inspiring guitar. Okay, there's A. I turned on my TV and this is what it told me. I have worms in my head, but if I take the magic pill, then everything will be alright. Off went the TV and on came the radio. God isn't anything sacred anymore. Shiver me timbers, this country is ready to fall. Don't fall, don't fall. Okay, gotta get volume control. And beer control. I've only got one more beer left. Because I don't want to get too out of my head. Because as soon as I'm done with this fun break away from the Matrix, I gotta go plug back in. And nothing would make me, one of the things that would make me super happy is if Sally is a total bust. If Sally's a total bust, I'll be like, awesome. And people will be like, you said it was going to be totally horrific. So, what is going to happen in these 2-3 hours that I've unplugged from the Matrix? I don't know. What am I going to be looking at when I get back? I don't know. But I thought it would be best to step out and see the forest from the trees. Am I doing that here with you? All right, I got one beer left. I'm going to go grab it. You go get yourself a refreshment if you're lacking. Hey, have I mentioned that giant smoke eye was off the coast in the Pacific? That smoke eye. Sometimes I see things and they fuck me up. And so that the smoke eye tells me. Like I said, I feel like we're waiting for 2 more bosses over the next 6 weeks. And one of those bosses might be a giant fucking earthquake. And we haven't had a giant American building breaking earthquake since like 1908 in San Francisco. You know, the Spanish flu was in 1918. So it was like you had the 1908 San Franciscan earthquake that broke buildings, broke a bunch of them. And they had World War I, 1914, 1913. And then 1918, you had the Spanish flu. So that seemed like a crazy 20 years. Because you know, the 1900s were sort of like the 2000s. So if you look back, in the first 20 years of the 1900s, a lot of shit happened. A lot of stuff changed. And that was before the automobile. And I can almost guarantee you, though I wasn't there back then, that human beings were humbler. I don't know if that's the right word. Before the automobile and the airplane. Before the automobile and the airplane could take people away from the normal lands they traversed daily, things were way different. So we're like 100 years from that shit. So yeah, in the first 20 years of 1900s, a major earthquake tore down buildings. In World War I, it was like everybody, you know, they were like, hey, what do we do now that our phone lines are connecting and we can talk to everybody? Like, I had an idea, let's start a war with the world. Choose your sides. Then that war ended, and so it's like, well, what did we win for having a world war, and then winning it? Like, you get the Spanish flu, and so just like the Avengers Civil War, Captain America 2, it came out in 2016. We had a like weird cold civil war then. So it's like the universe rewarded us in 2020 with the plague. And the civil war is getting hotter. mean, how would you even win a civil war? Would you like have secret handshakes with your people, and then when the war was fought, everybody would pull back to like one big city, like in the stand? I don't want to give anybody any crazy fucking ideas, but it definitely seems like we're past. And I don't mean to disrespect him. It just seems like, by the way the normal terms are defined, an actual civil war right now would be unwinnable. Yeah, so I just don't think that a civil war is what we're dealing with. I mean, you just can't have all the poor people go fight each other with muskets. Crazy, dude. Okay, so if you could equalize pressure, then what is the cap on how much pressure that you can equalize? I guess we're finding out. Hi, if you just joined us, it might be September 13th now. And I'm frazzled because that's what the energy is. Somebody was talking today about cosmic rays. Cosmic rays are a thing. What if magical space rays are a thing? I don't even know. It seems like there might be a whole lot of things. Now I'm just talking gibberish. I better pick that guitar back up. Or I could drink beer. All right, so let me see if I could be totally way off base here, but I guess could feel like we're in like an awkward last minute version of 2008, 2009. Or plan B. And so, like I said, it's ultimately, it still feels like a negotiation, or people are still figuring shit out. But the last month has just been a carnival of tension pretty much everywhere. And as I've discussed a couple times, you had the Spanish flu of 1918, you had the 1771 Russia plague riots, you had the 1666 London death, or whatever the fuck it was called, and you had the 1333 plague. You know? And it seemed like they're always trying to quarantine or lock down people during all those times. And that, over 400 years, 700 years, nobody really handles it well. And so it is just kind of like that Parks and Rec episode where Leslie Knope and the gang, where like I'm talking about, where they get assigned, they run the city Parks and Rec. And so their disaster preparedness drills are yearly. And so the guy comes to them and he has an envelope filled with whatever possible natural disasters will be there, and they got a pandemic. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, like, I feel like we still have the Civil War of 2016, but it's now on Plan B. And then we got the plague of 2020, and I think two more people are going to come to us with those cards that say, like, all right, here's your boss fight, or here's your natural disaster. Here's the next issue y'all have to learn how to deal with. But I'm always still, most of the time when the energy is not this heavy, I'm still just utterly amazed that we've made it this far. I mean, I am stunned. I'm stunned. I'm still here. Where, like, if I became like a radar going, everyone needs to chill out. Everyone needs to calm down. I don't know. Maybe we are getting hit with mega cosmic rays right now. And that is what I'm feeling. How are you feeling? And maybe it's my personal paranoia. And as a screenwriter, natural born, my imagination tends to like to color in a lot of the lines, whether there are lines there or not. But it definitely feels like at times there are some people who are like, ha, our master plan is about to work. Thanos, Loki, Ultron, and the gang are going to kick y'all's asses. And if you thought you were in some form of monetary usury slavery before, you just wait. I'm like, oh, dang. Can you have a doom overload? Oh, dang. Okay, think of civilization like a ball. I know, ball freaks people out, and then the triangle freaks people out, and then the cube freaks people out. Think about that. They're like, ball is a god. And people are like, ball is fake, ball is flat. And I'm like, what? So we fear the shapes. Oh my god, the ball is evil. Hydrostatic equilibrium. And then there's the triangle, or the pyramid. And like, the pyramid is evil. And then, the black cube of Saturn. And like, the cube is evil. And the cube includes a square. And then I came across a video the other day that was like a 5-point star. If upright is good, but if it is point down, it's bad. And if it's point sideways, it's definitely bad. I was like, okay, so the ball is evil, cube is evil, triangle is evil, 5-point star is evil. What about the 8-point star? It's kind of like numbers. People are like, these numbers are bad. 666, worst number there is. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. So yeah, we've still got a cavemanish nature. where we are still scared of shapes and fighting wars with each other. Oh, crap. All right, here's my... Oh, this is my big production value moment. I'm putting multiple colors together. And I, too, am wishing you blessings. Okay, I was saying earlier, we need more miracles. We need more win-win situations from deal makers. And don't take this disrespectfully, unless you want to. But if you're one of my fellow Christians, if you want to draw doom or gloom conclusions with me, can you do it using Jesus' words? And I bet there are talented people out there who can. I'm just saying, I've made no secret about how when it comes to the Bible, since I was a kid, the words in blue always seem to hold more weight than the other ones. It was like, Jesus is talking. Let's try and write down properly what he said. And then there's a bunch of other things where other people are talking. And so the Jesus talking part has always super resonated with me. And I think, some people would disagree with this, but I've definitely put more weight behind what he was saying. I know some people are like, that's not fair. You're disqualified as a Christian. And well, doesn't say que sera, sera, which is a phrase I haven't used in forever. I'm not even sure I know what it means. So cheers to que sera, sera having a good connotation. And cheers to all the awesome people out there. This is me kind of trying to tell a joke. But we're at the part of the narrative where there's a lot of talk about xenomorphs or Martians eating people or people eating people. I'm like, whoa, hold up. If you thought we were redlining in 2018, we are redlining now. We're like extra red squared. Ooh, what if you could square color values? I'm talking, red, green, blue, yellow, silver. I mean, all the colors. And I was crazy talking. And I'm letting my hair grow out. And we got 50 fucking days before that fucking election. And because I tell you, I talk to you. And I don't know. I don't even know when the first time I said, dude, I'm so worried about what happens. Well, I said, who knows what's going to happen at 100,000 when 100,000 Americans have died from COVID? Who knows what's going to happen? But something's going to happen. Something is going to happen at 100,000. And then it was like 100,000 deaths later, 70,000 deaths later. George Floyd was murdered and the protests and the riots began. So that's been like 3 months of that shit. And so now we are like 1,500 deaths away from 200,000 COVID deaths in 2020. And so I have not been as vocal about me being like, oh man, about like, numbers are arbitrary. But if they weren't, remember, the narrative just totally took a right turn. Well, like everybody was like, we were focused on this, and then it was like the whole narrative took a right turn. And we've been on a version of the same street, same right turn for 3 months. So now we're like 2-3 days away from 200. So it's that next video game boss. Like, what the fuck is gonna happen next? Yeah, sure, there have been swarms at Yellowstone. And I bet there have been swarms at other super volcanoes. It's part of the reason that Stay Cool September is important, in my opinion. Because, like, we're interconnected to everything. In Crackshot, the X-Men writer had said, there's a line from Alien where, like, we need more coolant. Get as much coolant as you can. And so I have agreed with that theory of, like, man, we need as much coolant now. You know? And so are the... And this is just me, but it feels like it's... I know that volcanoes, we knew they were showing up, but I still don't think it's a super volcano level. And so, energetically, we need to cool down. That I still feel like, especially from 2012 to 2020, or even the year 1999 to now, that like whatever was going to happen in the year 2020, it really depended on what we did over the last 20 years or 8 years. Like what that was going to look like, what that was going to be, had a lot to do with how we handled it. So we're like 900,000 COVID deaths just in the first part of the first wave. If you've just joined us, I laid out the like Russian plague riots of 1771, 1666, the London thingy, and then the 1333. And if you over all of them, they usually last about 2 or 3 years, and that they have anywhere from like 3 to 5 major wave spikes. That seems to be traditional behavior of plagues if we have 4 groups to learn from. That they acted very similar in that way, and after like 2 or 3 years, somehow they didn't have the vaccines for it or all the shit, but somehow people overcame it. So, I believe we've just had our first like spike. And so it is one of the things that I've talked about, especially in the end of September. I have been saying all year that like whatever the winter spike is going to be, we don't know yet. Anywho. I hope you are well. I definitely think if I would have had a hobby, if I'd have taken a vacation, if I would have driven somewhere fun for like half a day, I would have been able to manage this energy today better. So if saving the world tonight depends, or today depends on my guitar playing or this video, then shucks, I'm gonna have to try and do better. Or I guess at some point I could just shut up and go back to playing guitar. Oh, I mean praying. what I did there was I forgot about the hurricanes for a couple minutes. And then I thought about going back to praying. And then I saw like I was my size, but standing in the ocean on like a disc. And I was watching that big storm Sally coming in. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess definitely gotta get back to praying for that, because every single hurricane is different. It's like a different video game boss. Every single hurricane is different than another one. And so this is that part 3 days before landfall, 2.5 days, where this is like the most important, whether it's going to fall apart and be a bust like Barry back in 2019, or it's going to stack and strengthen. And so, you know, I think it happened with Laura when they were like, yeah, this thing won't even barely be a hurricane. And then there was one night everybody woke up and they're like, oh, hey, y'all, it's already a hurricane. It may get to category 2. And it got to 3. Some would say 4 or 5. Everybody ranks their hurricanes differently. All right. And so this is that point of like, I definitely can't sleep. Though I need a break from looking away at it. But on Sunday morning, like what, which is what, like 8 hours away, 7 hours away? On Sunday morning, who knows what we're going to find? And I was looking at the data, and like the icon had it at 1,003 millibars at landfall 76 hours from now. It's 1,003 millibars now. And the gem had it, the nav gem had it like 1,002, 67 hours from now. I'm like, man, it is 1,003 millibars now. And then the GFS had it like 998 millibars, which would be like 5 millibars lower than it is now. Like 65 hours from now. And so that just seemed just super absurd to me. Unless there's shit I don't know, that Sally's going to get into the clear over Florida, have open water with the maximum wind shear I've seen on it are like 10 knots. Super hot waters and not a lot of dry air. Other than the smoke that's blowing in from the west coast. And I watched the president's speech tonight. He's part of it. And he repeated forest management like 5 times, 10 times maybe. I was like, well, I definitely hope for the rest of 2020 we get some of the greatest forest management this planet has ever seen. But in the face of all this shit we're dealing with, I guess I'm still flustered, dumbfounded, asterisk, that I'm still having to talk about a civil war. That's dumb. And that if there was a quote unquote civil war, it's technically not a civil war, it's just Hydra pulling some super Hydra shit. And Thanos killed half everybody. So if you got like Thanos, Hydra, Loki, Ultron, and I'm talking real life here now. This is wild, dude. But the majority of the time, I believe cooler heads and peace will prevail. I'm not saying I don't believe that now. I'm saying the energy is very heavy. I feel like I'm like, dude, are we really having this discussion? Although I'm not having a discussion with anyone. Technically, this is a monologue because nobody's talking back. And subtweets or tweets don't count. I did play guitar for like 2 minutes before I turned the camera on. And it sounded good. And then I turned the camera on and lost all my skills. Okay, I'm sorry that I did not knock it out of the park with my guitar. And please stay cool. But tonight I'm definitely in a feeling of like, man, this shit is crazy. I don't know what's gonna happen next. But I'm gonna stick to everything I've always said of like, world peace would be great. Feeding everybody would be great. Working together would be great. Getting to Civilization 1A as one planet would be great. And I'm trying not to talk about politics at all. But I have noticed that a lot of times on here in my videos, if I talk about world peace, people are like, New World Order, that is evil. Can't do that. Devil wins if there's peace. But a lot of those same people in the 2 peace treaties that Netanyahu and Israel have signed with Arab nations over the last month, the same people don't freak out about that. They're like, Trump's brought peace terms to 2 Arab countries in the last month. So like, yay. And I'm like, yay. But I just think it's weird that same people freak out at me where I'm like, dude, we need peace. If Trump says peace, then they're like, oh, that's cool. Trump would bring about the non-evil peace. Like, oh, okay. I don't know. You know, I guess right now, like when we look at our world and the universe, all of us in our minds, there's a lot of shit we don't know about the sun, the moon, the stars, the planet, what came before us. And so we have to fill in our own narrative. We have to, or just skip over it entirely. And so it is like everybody has just filled in their own gaps. Just like I told myself for the last 2 years and 10 months, man, I am definitely going to get to kiss a pretty woman again. This shit ain't happened. But I tell myself that 6.7 of the days out of 7 a week. And so I guess in many ways, there are things we all tell ourselves that aren't necessarily 100% true, but they help us get through the day. You know, if I want to go back to the whole shit about where they're like, yo, bro, we tested a black hole. That bitch is 3.6 billion years old. I mean, the whole universe is 3.6 billion years old. I'm like, dude, you don't know. You can say you know. You can line up 1,000 scientists that are like, yeah, we double confirm the universe is 3.6 billion years old. But they don't know. I mean, one of my favorite Thor News jokes, when I used to want to try to do, or thought I could, sketch comedy, where it's the only camera show I want to do where you hide the camera. And so I would go around to like Best Buy and Walmart and Radio Shack and even like Ace Hardware. Be like, hey, I'm looking to buy a home carbon dater. I would like to carbon date my own stuff. Can you point me to where I can get my own home carbon dater here at Walmart? I always thought it would be so fun. Because the whole carbon dating thing is like really fucking weird, man. They got like 6 different places that supposedly have a carbon dating machine. I don't know if it's 6. Is it like 3 or 4? And they're like, yeah, we built 4 carbon dating machines so we could cross-reference anytime to figure out how old shit is. Like at some point in time, I think they carbon dated the Shroud of Turin. You know? And so it's like, yo, bro, we need $3 billion to build carbon daters. I'm like, well, what do you need carbon daters for? And they're like, well, so we can figure out when extinctions happened, we can figure out how old the universe and the Earth is, and we can verify if the Shroud of Turin is some legit Jesus shit or if we got swindled. So can you imagine being on the like carbon dating committee where like people send in their proposals like, I would like to carbon date this. And if I did get to do that, my answer to big science shit is always a hot dog. I'm like, hey, I want you guys to carbon date this hot dog. Tell me how old it is and how old everything inside it is. Same thing with spectroscopy. We're like, I would one day it would be cool to spectroscopy a hot dog. Okay, great. So to me, to me, the carbon dater has always been one of the like Wizard of Oz, the giant curtain show. I mean, it's not like they have, kindergarten field trips where like, hey, we're gonna take all the kids in to watch shit get carbon dated. And then go to the gift shop. But I do imagine that a lot of the earth is really old. I guess it's been around here for a long time. Oh, well, I am running through my back catalog of 8 years. James Webb Space Telescope. What was it, 2013, 2014? I was like, dude, that thing's never going to work. Now it's 2020, and that thing still doesn't work. And it's not working like, hey, we tried it, we launched it. We've been building this fucking telescope since 1995. We've been building a singular telescope for 25 years. And so it's like they didn't try to switch it on already. And it's like, oh, it didn't work. It is now scheduled to launch in like 2024. Because it was like they built the Hubble and then suddenly building a better version of the Hubble just got damn near impossible. So like, what the fuck is up with outer space? And I've been saying that for like decades. Although when I was younger, I was probably like, what is up with outer space? What is really going on? Nobody knows. I mean, I think a few people know. And there's definitely a lot of people on the YouTubes who are positive they know. But I'm like, man, unless you rode your bicycle to the moon, in my mind, that does not qualify. And hey, I totally agree. Like staying home most of the time is definitely not optimal health. But from the 1337, 1666, 1771, all those fucking lockdowns were super awkward. And like everybody was fighting and just so wild. And I've said many times, the plague is my least favorite. Whether you believe it's a hoax or not, all that of all the subjects we deal with, that one is my least favorite. Or it just seems the most difficult. Happy Sunday, happy Saturday. We made it, I think, another day. You and I, on planet Earth. All right, I guess I'm going to tell you my dream. Hopefully that doesn't hurt. Okay, so there's this super cool dude on Earth called Julian Casablancas. He's the lead singer of The Strokes, which is like the greatest rock band on the planet. Maybe the greatest band on the planet. And so if I'm remembering my dream correctly, we hung out, me and Julian and I hung out with The Strokes and a bunch of people. And I think I got to sing backup on one of their songs or with them. But I think I made a vocal mistake when I sang when I wasn't supposed to. Anywho, then me and Julian went to go see the like Space Force Air Show, and it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. But it like felt like it happened in my dream. So like all day I've been like, wow, that air show is so cool. And this is the second Space Force Air Show I've had in my dreams over the last like 2 months. But like in my dreams, I'm at like this Space Force kind of show, and they're rolling out the new like space shuttles and the planes, and so that was cool. And then I went back with Julian to his house or apartment, and the girls from they're 20 and 24 from Cobra Kai showed up to hang out. And they were very excited to see me. And there was funny dialogue that happened throughout it. So that was a great dream. And so I woke up and was like, yes, Jupiter's direct. And then somewhere around 6 p.m., the energy just got heavy. And so I still believe if we can somehow keep it together between now and the start of 2022, things will super improve. And not only will it improve, but we will appreciate all the things that we took for granted for so long. Hugs, hanging out with your friends, family. And so it's just like, look, man, one of my absolute favorite things on the whole planet is to kiss a beautiful woman. It's just like for 2 years and 10 months, I've been enduring going without it. I still pretty much believe that it will happen again someday. And it's the same thing where, yes, shit is super fucked up now, but if we can hold it together, don't stumble into any plan B, everybody dies shit, then we do have a lot of awesome prizes waiting for us. We can get our shit together as a world. Because they can't confirm it, but that whole stat about like 65% of all animals on the planet have died since 1980. Like if we were going to point towards a singular stat of a reflection of humans, the animals, on the planet that, like, if you're not going by the coronavirus stats, and remember the animal death stat has been escalating. And so, and as I've said, I feel like the animals have definitely been talking to us, and Mother Nature's been sending us like thousands of signals. And so if we're at 65% in 2020, I would think we would be more, whoa, Nelly. Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, man, I don't know what's going to happen next. And so that is one of, the trick of September, staying cool. Just to see what the next day brings us. And so even any talk of civil war feels like a MacGuffin. Like I've said this many times, like almost like 330 million people. They laid off 10% of the workforce, like that. That's like 30 million people. Everybody needs to be fed, wipe their asses and shit. And you got 50 states. Like, how would a civil war, even be won? And I don't think there's any, I mean, you can't ragtag that shit. And so any form of civil war would seem like Captain America, Civil War, Hydra. You know what I'm saying? My hair's growing out. I guess what I am trying to say is that I'm not freaking out. But today, I guess I'm not as good at being patient as I used to be. And I'm still sort of confused. Because there's a lot we don't know. But I do believe the human spirit is strong. The human spirit is resilient. The human spirit is like magical. And we are all the children of God. So we're like little gods. And so it goes back to that giant math problem. Figure out how to get everyone to stop fighting. I don't know if it's a song I gotta sing, an idea I gotta come up with, but it's there. Somewhere out there, it's there. And I love y'all, and I thank you for helping me with everything. You're beautiful. You're amazing. I love you. God bless everyone. Talk to you guys soon.